Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now on the Total Hockey Now Twitter, YouTube, and still Facebook, apparently, for a little while longer. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. The man to my left is at Ant Rivera 86, Anthony Rivera, or on your screen, your right. And then below me is Mr. Christopher Murray at Fuzzy Chris 91. We are halfway into the Stanley Cup Finals, and I think we've had a pretty good little series so far, fellas.
We got a nice little series going on here. And I got to say, this right here, Total Hockey Now, is definitely the place to be. Because I remember all the way back to the beginning of the season, us talking about the importance of Evan Rodriguez signing with the Florida Panthers. And, look at the series he's having. So you want good content, you come here to us. We got you with the hockey, all the hockey talk. This is the place to be, I got to say.
I don't know how I could do any better than that, Chris.
No, you can't follow that up. That's I feel like that's the starting goalie job, and then now I'm just gonna settle into my career backup spot. I'm getting a little bit sad because I know that it's slowly coming to an end, but I don't want to be sad because it's ending. I want to be happy because it happened, and we are getting to witness a wonderful Stanley Cup final, depending on what side you're on, but as somebody who is just watching for pure entertainment now, I have been disconnected from my fandom now for the better part of 2 months. I'm just enjoying this. I'm enjoying watching the Florida Panthers. I'm enjoying watching the Edmonton Oilers. It's definitely fun.
All endings bring new beginnings, and we will have a lot of stuff coming your way throughout this offseason. So I'm very excited for that and to be teaming up with you guys every week.
Absolutely. We'll be rolling through the summer right here where you're finding us right now. And it's sad because we have anywhere between 2 and 5 hockey games left, probably shading towards the shorter end of that, the way the series has gone so far. But we got a lot on the table today. We're going to talk about Jake Guentzel. We're going to talk about the impending death of Cap Friendly. We'll talk a little Conn Smythe odds. We're going to do a potato side dish draft. But I mean, first up, we got to talk a little Stanley Cup Finals, Game 1, Game 2 recap here. Let's get down to brass tacks. Game 1 was competitive. It was just Sergei Bobrovsky decided, hey, I'm not letting anything in today, and that's going to be the end of that. And as anybody that's watched hockey for a long time or played hockey, you could be the first place team playing the last place team, but if the goalie in the last place team decides I'm not letting anything in, doesn't matter how good the shot is, how good the puck movement is, and that's kind of what happened there in Game 1. Edmonton did play well, but again, Bobrovsky saved the day. And then Game 2, let's start with Warren Fogle. I mean, Jesus, man. I mean, like, your leg is obviously stretching out to go because you were going to miss the hit. And I mean, come on, dude. Like, that's not okay.
Well, that was, I just like, saw a lot of people trying to defend it. And I'm like, okay, like cool. That's still a knee on knee. I thought it should have been a 5, at least a major. Referees took it one step further by kicking him out, and that was fine. Can't be doing that. And you can complain. The one thing that's been constant so far is both sides of the wagon hate the officiating. If you go through Twitter, it is just people complaining about things happening on the ice. And it's wild because sometimes they call too many penalties. Now they're not calling enough. I have no problem with letting them play. But you can't be sticking your knee out and expecting good things to happen there. I understand Corey Perry wasn't in the lineup. Warren Fogle did not have to take over. It was the right call to me, and I have no problem with it.
It's a 5-minute major, and if you don't think that, then like you're warped. Throwing him out of the game, if you want to debate that, that's fine. But I think the refs are doing that in that situation to kind of get it under control. Like, all right, listen. He did something. It's a 5-minute major, and we think he stuck his leg out, intent to injure. He's gone. Just to set that precedent that, like, okay, we're not having retaliatory stuff here. He's gone. It's done. I mean, we saw Draisaitl later at the end of the game, and now Barkov is down, and that's the story right now. If you're the Panthers heading into Game 3, we can discuss that too. I mean, I'm not saying what Draisaitl did was okay, but listen, man, I get it. Barkov is probably the best player in the series. He's making life tough on McDavid. He's making life tough on Draisaitl, and it's not okay, but I get it. It's frustrating, and he went after the guy that's causing him the most problems right now.
Yeah. What else does what else do the Oilers have to do, to try to get back in this series, but to now have to try to revert to taking someone out of the game? Look, the neon knee hits, those are always dangerous. That's, it's just as dangerous as the elbow that we saw from that we saw in the Rangers series against Florida as well. Like you can't be doing that stuff. And I'm not upset one bit that they, kicked him out of the game at all. Got to set precedent there.
Everybody was crying about what Fogle did. I mean, Oiler fans, and then nobody seems to really care about what Draisaitl did. I get what I don't think Draisaitl's hit was dirty. I don't think it was an intent to do anything. I think he caught him up high. I think he maybe probably deserved a fine at best and be like, hey, Leon, let's not do that. Let's also put this on the other side. Leon Draisaitl has been the target of other teams are trying to get under him, and we saw him. What was it, last year before? Basically playing hobbled because the LA Kings were like, "Hey, which knee is it? Like, is it the left one? Is it the right one? Let's figure out which one."
Chance, yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying that Leon went out there to do anything wrong. I think he caught him high. It's unfortunate that it's Barkov. I think Barkov plays unless he is dead. Unless he dies tomorrow, the man is going to be in the lineup. If they have to wire his jaw shut, if it's broken, if he needs a doctor with a loose prescription pad to say, hey man, we'll sign off that the concussion symptoms are not that bad. I'm not saying that he should. I'm just saying that he has to basically die before somebody is taking him off the ice.
Yeah, if it's not anything that's preventing him from skating or a head or something with a concussion related, injury, he's playing. Yeah, at this time of the year, he's playing. So we'll see. Well, and again, if they're, if he's playing impaired, how does that affect his effectiveness? And, they can, and if he's fine, at least they're going back to Edmonton now where Knobloch can kind of try and avoid that matchup to a degree with getting McDavid and Draisaitl out there. So, but I mean, Florida runs so deep. I mean, yes, it matters to get away from Barkov, but it's not a walk in the park no matter what line they're taking on.
Yeah, they have to do something. They got to get McDavid and Draisaitl away from Barkov. Like, we knew Barkov was good, and now he has demonstrated just how good he is. Like, we've been privileged to watch Patrice Bergeron, win the Selke every year and be like, oh, that's just normal. And now Barkov has stepped into this, and he is so skilled on both sides of it, and you can watch it in real time. We're not going to take anything away from McDavid because he's the best. He is the best player on the face of the earth. But when Barkov is on the ice, so far, he's been able to limit the damage because the Oilers have not scored on the power play. Their offense looks absolutely putrid. They scored 1 goal in 2 games, and that's coming from a team that if they don't score, that's not going to help them. Their defensemen had more shots in game 2 than their forward group. So that's a problem. That's a massive problem. But they're going back home. You are never in trouble until you lose at home. The only problem is Edmonton has to win a game on the road. They have no choice. If they want to win the Stanley Cup, they got to win one on the road. So far, I'm going to give them a D- for effort on the road in terms of scoring goals. They've tried, but they got to find a way to get some past Bob, and it can't just be Elias Ekholm.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, they're not getting a ton of shots on net, and I know Florida's trying to shut them down, but 1 goal through 2 games, and I understand Bobrovsky was fantastic in game 1, but they got to figure something out soon because Florida's just happy to roll along the way they've been playing. The thing that jumps out to me about Florida is it's like they have this ability to just kind of like take control of the game and just establish that this is how we're playing and this is how it's going to be the rest of the game. And when they had that 5-minute major early, and then Edmonton gets the goal during the 4-on-4 period. When they survive that, Edmonton, I'm like, all right, they got a chance. But Florida just slowly, takes control. They're getting huge contributions from guys like an Evan Rodriguez, who Anthony talked about before the show. He's got 3 goals in the first 2 games. Who had that on their bingo sheet?
That's what the Edmonton Oilers don't have in their lineup. They don't have an Evan Rodriguez. They don't have the depth to compete. And it's evident now because nobody else is dangerous outside of the top players for Edmonton. And when they're not scoring, it all ends there. Whereas for the Panthers, We haven't seen a ton of goals from the big boys. But, like you said, Evan Rodriguez has 3 goals. I did not have that on my bingo card. If you had Evan Rodriguez leading at any point the Stanley Cup Finals in goals, you can collect your $1 billion ticket and please buy your island.
I don't think we were surprised that Verhaeghe got the first goal of the series because he scores big goals, he pivotal goals, important goals. So him getting that goal out of the box made sense. But now all of a sudden, Evan Rodriguez is apparently Connor McDavid when it comes to putting the puck in the net.
Look, the Panthers are the most complete team going into the playoffs. They're still the most complete team. I thought they were the most complete team going into the season, and they're a team of destiny to me. I think it's all, I don't care what Knobloch tries to do. They could try to switch goalies again, whatever it is. It's ending with the Panthers winning the Stanley Cup to me. I don't think I have been more confident in the fact that this team is going to win the Stanley Cup. They're just too good all around.
And just to talk Stu Skinner for a second, it's not there's really no blame on him at this point. It's just Edmonton can't score and Florida gets the timely goals. Now, strategy for Edmonton going into these last couple of games here. Do you want to try and do you dress Vogel again, or do you throw Perry out there with like a, hey, let's get under their skin, let's try and bait them in the bad penalties? Like, is that what the Edmonton Oilers really need to do at this point? Do they really need to just try kind of drag them down into a street fight and hopefully get some offense on special teams, because it's not happening 5-on-5 for them?
I don't know if that's going to work, because like, didn't the Rangers try doing that in the last series with Trouba, and it didn't work. Remke they threw in there for a couple series. I don't think it's going to work with Florida. I think they know what their goal is. They got 2 more games to win, and I think they're going to get it done, whether it's in 4 or 5, or I had them in 6. So I think it might end a little earlier, though. What did you have, Adam? You had 5, right? In 5 games.
5, yeah. I think
Okay.
Edmonton for sure is going to get one of these games at home. I memean, we'll see what Barkov is like for game 3. I think they get one. Yeah, if Florida has a chance to clinch the cup on home ice, I don't think that series is going back to Edmonton.
Yeah, they have to at least get one in Edmonton. But if they want any chance to believe and have any life in this series, it has to be game 3. It has to be. You can't go down 3-0 and expect to come back in 4 games against that Panthers team. You just can't.
Right now, I think for Edmonton, it's real simple, right? You have to simplify the game as much as you can. And it's not about trying to get under the Panthers' skin, because you're not scoring on the power play. The Panthers are extreme. A, they're disciplined. B, they've been exceptionally good on the penalty kill. And Edmonton's problem has been scoring goals 5-on-5. So simplify this as much as you can. Like old coaches used to tell me, get to the front of the net and get pucked towards Bobrovsky. He cannot see the puck. You cannot stop what you cannot see. And this goes back a little bit to the Colorado Avalanche and the Winnipeg Jets. Connor Hellebuck, one of the best goalies on the face of the earth, but he could not see the puck, so he could not stop it. Colorado was elite at getting bodies in front of the net and making his life exceptionally difficult. That has not been the case for Sergei Bobrovsky. He has been great, and he continues to be great, so you got to get in front of the net. Doesn't matter how you get there. I'm not going to ask guys like McDavid and Draisaitl do it, because that's not their game. But anybody else on there, Zach Hyman's already there, but you got to find a way to get there, win your battle, win your space, and then look for, it's going to be one of those garbage goals that it's going to go in. One of those Zach Hyman 3-footers. That's what you need to do. You need to get traffic in front of the net. You also have to shoot the puck a little bit more. Some of these games have been real lopsided in terms of shots. You have to generate shots towards the net. It is like the volume here is just not enough for Edmonton. They got to come out and they got to pound away, because Bobrovsky is good, man. He's not Stuart Skinner. So you got to get traffic there. You got to get volume there. Maybe it goes off a skate blade and into the net. I don't know. But it's a question of getting bodies to the net, making life exceptionally hard for Bobrovsky. And if you get a power play out of it, great. Keep moving your feet. Good things will happen. But bodies to the net, pucks to the net, just simplify the game right now. That's all they got to do. I think they can do this in game 3 since they're going home. I do think Edmonton can at least bounce back here, but they got to do it like now, like right now.
if you think Edmonton's going to win the next 4 in a row, plus 1,000 odds right now, you can get them at. So if you think they're going to take 4 in a row, go cash in right now. Now, I agree that when you can't get anything going, you just get back to basics, get in, establish presence in the zone, get pucks on net. Don't be too picky about the shots. Like you said, get bodies in the front of the net. That being said, one thing Florida has that not a lot of other teams have is on all 3 of their defensive pairings, they've got a big boy, Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikkola, Dmitry Kulikov. So they have big guys that okay, you want to go stand in front of the net, I got no problem moving. So they have somebody that can just keep that crease clear for Bobrovsky. So it's going to be, against other teams, might happen a little bit easier. They are going to have a tough time establishing that net front presence there with the Florida defense blue line, which, Gustav Forsling, as we said before the air, has been a force in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what they also don't have? They don't have Darnell Nurse on their blue line. Homie, the only thing that saved him in game 2 was the fact that he didn't play. I think that was a blessing for the Edmonton Oilers right there. That was a blessing because he has been terrible. In that first game, homie, I mean, I saw that coming a mile away. Those are things we do on a Thursday night league at 9:30, right? That's not something we do in game 1 of the NHL Finals. I don't know where you were going, Darnell, man. You just head on a swivel, buddy. That just guy in front of the net, man. He's yours. Watch him. So Florida is not making those strategic mistakes, those placement, those coverage mistakes. They're not doing it. And then the Oilers, Kobe Ceci paid for it. But in reality, it's just because Darnell Nurse is, I mean, shout out to Ken Hughes, man. He was the one who negotiated that contract for him. Highway robbery is what Darnell Nurse is committed here.
I know we disparage the plus-minus stat on the show as it's mostly worthless, but it does have value in its extremes. In the playoffs, 20 playoff games, Darnell Nurse is a minus 15. That can't happen as a defenseman. Because defensemen, you can use the plus-minus stat just a little bit more to evaluate than a forward position. But man, that can't be. Minus 15.
He's not on the ice late either for empty net goals, so it's not like, when we gave up 2 empty net goals in the playoffs, the guy was on the ice, he finishes -2. He's not there. So he is being caught 5-on-5 most of the time. And I mean, he's not, I don't know, man. Homie's lost right now.
He has a bigger minus than the entire Panthers team combined in the playoffs. They only have -6 as a total team.
Darnell's a problem right now, and it's not in a good way.
And keep in mind, that's for the whole playoffs, but the teams they've played along the way, the Kings are not offensive juggernauts. Dallas put the puck in the net a few times, but, they were able to keep them at bay. And then they had Vancouver, who wasn't really scoring. They would score in bursts. So, not the greatest stat there. So I'm sticking with Florida in 5. You guys, I believe, both had Florida in 6 coming out of there. So are you sticking with 6? Are you dropping the 5? Do you see something that maybe makes Edmonton come back in this series? What are we talking here?
I think I'm dropping to 5, very close to getting 4 in here. I think that they can sweep the Oilers. I really do. But I will stick with them getting 1, whether it's game 3 or 4. But that's going to be pretty much it. I don't think they get past that. If they get 2 and make it to 6, I will be grateful because that's how I had it. But yeah, I'm going to drop this to 5 here. The Panthers, like I said, they've just been too much of a complete team and have, Bobrovsky's just playing out of his mind right now. So especially in game 1. So yeah, I'll stick with 5 right here, but that may change if they win game 3.
I'm gonna stay at 6, right? As of 5:23, we still don't know what's gonna happen with Alexander Barkov. I don't know what his status is. He is a big part of that. I do think the Oilers can win 2 games. I do. I think they can go home and win both. And if they win 1 and they start game 4, good, right? Then maybe they get some of that momentum back. The problem is the Florida Panthers are just so disciplined. They're so good. And they don't have a CC Nurse pairing. So at some point, I have more faith in the Panthers winning on the road than I do the Oilers winning on the road. The Oilers have to do that at least once. The Panthers don't have to win on the road, but I have full faith that they can do so. So I think they can shut that door game 6 when it counts. Because you want to go home for game 7. You want to go back to South Florida with the Stanley Cup. You want to party on the plane. You want to land there and just get loose. So to me, I still think they can get a 6. I'm not going to brush off Connor McDavid. Like, he spoke after game 2 and homie looked locked in. Not a single, he didn't look like he was sweating. His team's down 0-2. They haven't played well. And he's just like, yeah, man, I'm just, backs up against the wall. I can't wait to, have people doubt us. He just looks so locked in, and I'm so terrified of him. Like, how can you be that calm? Oh yeah, it's because you're the best player in the world. That's why. That probably is.
I think McDavid obviously has the ability to just take over a series and win games by himself. I got to stick with Florida in 5 though for a couple of reasons. Yes, we've seen Edmonton prior in the playoffs. Like, we're going into Game 4 against Dallas. Dallas really kind of had control of that series and was almost ready to hand the series to him, and then Edmonton just kind of turned it on. And then the rest of the series, they played well. They have that ability in them, but against Florida, I don't know if they're going to be susceptible to that. I think they're just too strong top to bottom. They're very, very well coached. I mean, Paul Maurice, let's get you a cup finally. I think against any other team, I would worry about that, McDavid, Draisaitl surge. All of a sudden they win 2 games and now it's a best of 3. I don't see Florida letting that happen. That being said, I think the Oilers are good enough to get one desperation win, whether that's in Game 4 to save their season or the momentum shift of being home in Game 3. I said Florida in 5 at the beginning, and I'm going to stick with that. I think that's got a good look for the series. Edmonton gets 1. Florida's going home with a chance to clinch. They're not going to let that go away. Not a chance. So we got a Florida in 5, a Florida in 6, and a Florida in 5, possibly 4, if Florida takes Game 3 there. So there we go. Time to talk a little Conn Smythe odds, of course. Could be for the last time this year we're talking Conn Smythe odds. Let's take a look here. You see it scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Let's see. At the top of the list, no surprise, it's Sergei Bobrovsky, who's now minus 160. Last week, he was 450. Sasha Barkov is now 480. Last week, 450. And, Connor McDavid is plus 500. Last week, he was plus 220. But everybody else is pretty much, not to say a long shot, but I mean, those are your 3 guys there, because everybody else is 4 digits or more. And the odds, Kachuk plus 2,400, Carter Verhaeghe plus 3,100, Rodriguez has played himself in at plus 6,500, Draisaitl at plus 3,300, and then anybody else beyond that's a long shot. I did include Calvin Pickard at plus 50,000 because I thought that would be funny if all of a sudden Stuart Skinner tweaks something and he can't go, and then Calvin Pickard wins 4 straight to win the series. That's a plus 50,000 there if you think that is even possible.
I don't. I mean, good for Sergei Bobrovsky for being there. If Florida does win this series, it feels exceptionally hard to take it away from him, regardless of what Barkov does almost now. I feel like it's Bobrovsky's to lose. He's been so good. And in that first game, he was key to the success. He was the reason that the Panthers won that game. There's no question about it. He was ready to go. Florida didn't really generate a ton of offense. They found the back of the net, which is all that counts. I will say this. There is some value at Connor McDavid at plus 500 because if Edmonton does come back, boots tied, it's probably because of Connor McDavid. And oh, by the way, Leon Draisaitl at 3,300. What a jump there is. A little bit sprinkled there. Because again, if Connor McDavid's doing something, there's a good chance his buddy's with him. Like the Leon's right there serving him up the pass, or McDavid's putting it in the Draisaitl's wheelhouse. So, like, if I believe in the Edmonton Oilers, I'm taking a sprinkle on both there because why not?
Even though Evan Bouchard has better odds than Draisaitl, I would take Draisaitl over Bouchard. I just, if the Oilers are going to come back and win this series, it's going to be because of those 2 guys. I mean, yes, Bouchard has been supremely important to them, but I don't think he's going to have a performance that would shadow the other guys, including Stuart Skinner, who also is going to have to be at the top of his game for 4 out of the next 5 games if they're going to win. So I think it's, can anybody else take it from Bobrovsky at this point? I mean, he did his job. What do you want a goalie to do in every series? You want them to steal at least 1 game for you, and he got that out of the way in Game 1. So
I'm really liking Carter Verhaeghe at plus 3,100. I think that's something that I would sprinkle a little money in there. He's 1 point behind the top getters in Kachuk and Barkov, and he has the most goals on the team right now. And a lot of those goals are big goals, like you said, Adam.
Yeah, I'd still look at him just because of the his clutch ability. But again, I mean, Bobrovsky has clearly set himself far. Bobrovsky's going to have a subpar game. I won't even say a bad game to close those odds a little bit there. And it's going to. We know McDavid's going to improve his odds. He's not going to get shut out the rest of the way. He's going to step his game up, like you said. He looks like a man that is just totally focused on nothing else but the next game in front of him. So. A lot of options there, but Sergei Bobrovsky's starting to pull away in terms of being a Conn Smythe favorite. But we're only 2 games into the series, so we'll see.
It's true. Lots of things can change here. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Bobrovsky turns into. Remember, there was once upon a time when Bobrovsky couldn't stop a beach ball, and now we're talking about him possibly winning the Stanley Cup and a Conn Smythe at 35. What a time to be alive. That's how old I am. I'm old enough to remember when Sergei Bobrovsky was just not good.
I remember when the Panthers signed Bobrovsky, and everyone's like, if Bobrovsky wants to win, why is he going to Florida?
Why is he going to Florida? Why did they take Spencer Knight? Why did they do all these things? And now look at us.
First round pick on Spencer Knight. What is he, 10th, 12th overall, something like that?
Something of that. Something of that. And then maybe we could squash the narrative as well that you can't win with a $10 million player. Because maybe you can if it's your goalie and he's good. I don't know. Maybe good goaltending matters and depth matters. I don't know. Think about it.
Florida got there last year, banged up. This year, it looks like they're going to win their first one ever, which that'll be, I think, a pretty fun party down there in South Florida. Would love to take part in that, but, a little far away from there. But hoping to see a good Stanley Cup party there. Now, that's all of the Stanley Cup preview for today. Gonna get on talk about a few other topics here. Let's go over to quick hits. And first and foremost, we got some ECHL and AHL playoff updates. Number one, congrats to the Florida Everblades, who won their 3rd in a row, securing their spot in ECHL history with a 4-3 Game 5 win over the Kansas City Mavericks in a 5-game series. They're the first team to win 3 in a row, and it's their 4th championship overall. They are the affiliate of the Florida Panthers, so Panthers, like we said last week, it doesn't stop for them. So congrats to the Everblades, even though the Mavericks have the better jersey, according to somebody. Now, the other thing to talk about here, and Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the AHL is tomorrow night, because the Cleveland Monsters have rallied from an 0-3 series deficit, which includes a Game 6 victory on the road in which they tied the game with about 30 seconds to go and then won the game in overtime. So game 5 of the Panthers Oilers series is not till Thursday. You need something to watch tomorrow night. That's where you're watching. You got a team that's susceptible to blowing an 0-4 lead, or they're going to break the hearts of Cleveland after clawing their way back in for 3 straight games just to lose. So I'm going to have to find my way in front of a TV for that one.
Definitely not watching basketball, so it'll be that. And I mean, the Jays are just not good, so we're running out of pickings here. I would much rather watch AHL hockey than whatever other sport is going on.
Hershey Bears and the Cleveland Monsters. So there you go. And Hershey, one of the better AHL franchises in Calder Cup history. So good to keep an eye on that. Gary Bettman says there are no plans to expand in the near future, despite the interest from multiple cities. I think that's good on Gary Bettman to kind of get out in front of that and be like, I know we just moved to Utah and stuff, but nothing's happening for a little while. And I think just to kind of calm down the talk. I mean, I've said in the past, the NFL is the gold standard of professional sports leagues. I don't think any other league can go past 32 teams until the NFL does it. I think you spread the talent out too thin.
I just hate Gary just so much. Every time I hear his name, I see his face, I'm just reminded of how much I don't like him. He's like, we're not expanding until like the owners are like, hey, we need another infusion of like $800-900 million into the system. Why don't we like do that? I mean, just give. He would much rather put a team on Mars before putting a team in Quebec City.
True.
He's like, travel can't be that bad.
Maybe they build like a direct like light rail there. I don't know. The light
He'll
speed
figure
rail.
it out, but he refuses to send a team to Quebec City.
When Arizona's ready again, they'll probably get a team first before Quebec City does, unfortunately.
Arizona's still drilling for water here, and let's slow down here.
Yeah. It's going to be a while before they find it out there. So, and good on them. And Utah, we talked about their new franchise name ad nauseum at this point. They're down to 6 candidates. We all go back a couple episodes to find out who we like And we'll see what happens midseason when they reveal the actual team name there. The other NHL news: the NHL raised the salary cap to $88 million for next year, which is a $4.5 million increase from last year's $83.5 million salary cap. It's the biggest jump in one offseason since the 2019-2020 campaign. Earlier last year, Gary Bettman said that it was expected to rise to about $87.7 million, so he was pretty much right on the money. It increased $1 million in each of the previous seasons. And then 2020, 2021, it stayed at 81.5 because obviously the pandemic, there wasn't as much money coming in. New cap floor now is 65 million, so 11 teams need to get there. Utah's got to spend 20 million to reach there. So Mitch Marner, maybe you got to start looking for real estate out there.
I mean, that's a good jump here. So it means that the NHL is, I mean, we know they're profitable, but to the standard that they can increase the cap as well. There was also talk about the players' escrow, some money coming back to them. So it's a good day if you are a player in the NHL looking to collect some money in the offseason, maybe a long-term deal. Because $4.5 million is not peanuts. That's a decent amount of money. You can go out and get 3 below average defensemen for that kind of price. So that's right up to Toronto Maple Leafs alley here. They can go out and do something they don't need to do. Maybe re-sign John Klingberg. I don't know. That seemed to have worked out well the first time. The Devils can go out and sign another $2 million goalie that won't solve their issues. So it's great. This infusion of money here means that I want to see GMs now that have $4.5 million, how poorly they are going to use it. I want to see those terrible July 1st contracts handing out $4.5 million too much.
I'm happy for the Rangers. That's a good thing because they were going to have some decisions to make, and now they've got a little more slack to deal with there. So that's nice for teams like that were right up against it. And like you said, we'll see how Toronto mismanages it. Now, we talked about the salary cap there, and one of the ways we get our information about the salary cap and contracts, capfriendly.com, it's going to be gone soon. It's going dark. The Washington Capitals purchased the site, and they're going to be shutting it down over the next couple of weeks. The NHL doesn't love these kind of sites, Puckpedia being the other big one, because they feel contract information is, quote, proprietary information, even though we report when guys sign or re-sign with teams, the terms of that. You've got all-day coverage, first day of free agency on your network with the graphics showing the contract terms and lengths. But no, this is private information we don't want to get out. Just somebody actually happened to compile all of it and organize it. But no, you can't have that. And here's the other thing, too, which I find amazing. It was a heavily relied on tool for guys like us, content creators, but other teams were actually using it now as their source. So, like, it's kind of a crappy move to make. Like, is this in response to, like, all the long-term IR exploitation talk? Is that what is that what we're trying to do? Like, shut that down? Like, come on.
They're like, are we blaming the NHL for this, or are we blaming the Capitals for this? Like, who's getting the blame for this whole situation?
That's the thing. Are the Capitals just a convenient fall guy for what the NHL wants to do? Or like, did the Capitals have a reason to really step up and be the team to do it? I don't know.
I can see this as like, I'm not going to blame the Capitals. They're the ones who, like, they're the police who are showing up to break up the house party. Like nobody likes them, but they didn't just show up there. Somebody called them probably. And if I'm the Washington Capitals, like, we know how important that information is. Why would you not want to own that? Why would you not want to own that resource? Like, it can help you. I mean, it can help you circumvent the cap. That's probably what the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Vegas Golden Knights used to be like, hey, how can we make the math work? Also, shout out to the good folks over at Cap Friendly. I hope they collected a 9-figure bag because they deserved it.
I would think that the offer they got was just one of those where, like, we can't say no to this.
I don't fault them either for doing it. Like, I know it's shitty because we're losing such a great resource, but go and collect your bag, homie. You've earned it. This is a free tool that everybody's been using, and the NHL could have done it. But like you said, Gary Bettman is so out of touch with what's happening in the NHL. He's like, nobody wants to know this, right? The salary cap is the most important thing apparently in the NHL for why this league is so great and why players should love it and everything. But don't put everything together and try to make it better. Also, I couldn't believe how many teams use this free source as their means of, like, doing business. So that means there's a whole bunch of teams now that are going to have no idea how the salary cap works or how LTIR or all the moves that they can do. Like, they can't simulate buyouts anymore. They probably got it. Like, they got to go back and do it on a paper with a calculator and stuff like that instead of, like, I don't know, how many times did I put into like buying out somebody's contract into cap friendly? Like, that's not that bad. We can do that. We can make that work. How much does it cost if I put Josh Anderson on, buyout? Like, okay, we can do that. So I want to see all these teams now scramble to kind of like build their own mini version of this so that they can manage the day to day, because the salary cap is important and you need this information to make those important trades or just like the day to day of the cap. But this should have been something that the NHL does. They probably should have bought this a long time ago. But Gary Bettman hates Canada. He hates fun. And now, like, we just have to blame the Washington Capitals for taking our fun away.
Now, what I'm worried about is, okay, so if the Capitals, because they know other teams are relying on it, well, now it's ours and you can't have this resource anymore. And yes, the professional sports teams, they'll get a development team in to clone the site and make it work on their own platforms, however they need to do it. But I'd like to talk to the guy who in Washington who thought about, like, whose idea that was to be like, all right, let's go do that. Let's go buy the site. And is Puckpedia going to get an offer they can't refuse now by another team that's just too lazy to actually do the development of it? Like somebody that's, somebody that the team equivalent that waits to the night before to do the assignment. Are they going to go after Puckpedia and be like, here's a blank check? Like, then what?
Maybe, but I mean, look, all I was like, if I'm the Washington Capitals, that was a move to make, because that's a great resource, because they're probably going to try to figure out how to bury a couple of contracts. So they got to, like, they're going to be using the simulator probably quite a bit, and they got to see how they can fit all of that. But it's not even that. All the like nuances of like the contracts for like rookies and like arbitration right, like there's a lot of rules when it comes around contracts, and even like the trades and the clauses and everything. And like, it's such a good resource, and it sucks that it's closing, because like you said, I don't remember a time that I haven't really used it. Like I didn't really use Cap Geek when it first came out, because it probably like it wasn't as big, but that's where Cap Friendly has come from since, and now it's just a tool that we all use. So thanks for ruining the party, Washington. You were frauds all year, and now you take away our fun in the offseason. Just
Capitals.
Yeah, just send them to Mars.
I know you said the NHL doesn't love these sites, but is it possible that they are trying to create their own version of this, considering how successful Cap Friendly was?
They can't even run an advanced analytics. Have you ever gone through that? Their website is terrible. If I'm looking for any type of advanced analytics, I never go to the NHL's website for anything. I go somewhere else. Like, that's how bad they are. Like, I'm never like, oh, I want to check standings, let me go to NHL.com. No, I'm always going somewhere else. If I want to see expected goals for, I'm not running to the NHL. The NHL does not. Gary doesn't care. Gary thinks people like to watch NHL games to see the digital ads on the boards. Like, he has no idea what's going on. So, no, is to answer the question.
And for like basic stat stuff, like Pro Hockey Reference, Basketball Reference, like those reference sites, those are the authority on like just your straight stats and your
actual stat trick. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm going there. If I want to see how bad Darnell Nurse is at 5-on-5, I'm not going to the NHL's website to see it, because they don't have the information that I want.
Yeah, and those sites aren't going anywhere. I use the Baseball Reference one a lot myself. I assume that someone is going to come up with a site like Cap Friendly, whether it is to, make it brand new and refresh with new kind of, statistics and stuff like that, or an analytics, or they're going to do it because they saw the payday that the people from Cap Friendly got, and they're going to try to get that as well. So I assume we're going to get another site like this at some point.
Hopefully. We'll see. It's going to be dark in a few weeks, and that just kind of stinks. The first time you go to look something up and you go to Cap Friendly and it's like the site's no longer here, that's when it'll hit.
Get on it, Chris.
I'm not that smart. That's somebody else's department here. I'm the one who needs I need the buyout calculator so I can figure out how we're moving on from Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher. I'm not, or how much cap space do you have once Carey Price hits LTIR? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I need. I can't build that.
Now, so it would have been a site as a resource to look up potential trade destinations for somebody like Jake Gensel, who the Hurricanes have made it known that he's available, his negotiating rights until the start of free agency. are available for a mid-round pick. So we'll see who gets, who decides to pay the price and maybe get it. Maybe nobody does, and maybe they just decide to take their chances and see if they can sign him without having to give up a pick. But another guy that's going to be out of Carolina, Martin Necas, Montreal and Philly is said to be in on discussions for him. Chris, do you want him, or do you think this guy's a little bit of a malcontent and you don't want to upset the apple cart?
No, I would gladly take him if you're looking to maybe stick it into the Carolina Hurricanes. Nice little offer sheet here, wouldn't hurt anybody. Yeah, I mean, since the Carolina Hurricanes locked up all that money in Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that went well. So I have no problem with Montreal wanting to acquire Martin Necas. I think he can complement a top 6 role. He can definitely come in, contribute. Good player, no problem. It comes down to how much it costs, right? It's always a question of what it costs. I know Montreal's a ton of prospects in the system. They have a lot of good defensemen. I expect most teams that will be knocking will say, hey, this is what I'm like. They're going to try to grab maybe a little bit more than they should because of what Montreal has and the ability to maybe pry one of those young defensemen out. But I'm not going all out for that. You know what I mean? I'd much rather keep those assets right now, wait a little bit, maybe wait for like a kind of like a sign and trade maybe, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold, but I don't mind it.
Speaking of available players, Trevor Zegras is perennially available. And so cool Anaheim Ducks jerseys again, folks. Both the Kings and the Ducks, our logos are getting retro remodel. Well, not retro, but remodels. The Kings is supposed to be, let's do the Ducks first. That's what we want. So it's going to be the old Mighty Ducks logo, but instead of the purple and tealish green color, it's going to be more of an orange, heavily dominated look, which they did wear that as a third jersey a few years ago when they threw that logo on an orange jersey, which I always like that.
Wasn't it like orange, black, and grayish or something
orange,
like that?
black, and like that goldish gray kind of color. But yeah, it's good to see that they finally decided, and I understand why they couldn't use that logo when new ownership came in, because you're trying to establish a new look, a new identity. We're not Disney anymore. So you have to kind of do something drastic like that. But that was just never going to sit well with anybody because it's a beloved movie. It's a pretty good trilogy, I got to say. D2, very good movie. D3, good as far as, third movies go. It was just
trilogy.
Solid, very solid trilogy. I still have the 3 DVDs somewhere back there. But when people went to the duck foot logo, it wasn't. I didn't think it was that bad, but it was one of those situations where no matter what you came out with, people weren't going to like it because it wasn't the Mighty Ducks logo. So it's been long enough since the ownership has changed hands. Let's go back to what works in our bread and butter, and it's the iconic Mighty Ducks logo. So kudos to them for that.
Well, the fact that I go to Devils games when they play the Ducks, and it's either people wearing the Mighty Ducks logo from D2 or the D1 one as well.
Green and the yellow,
the green and yellow, with the duck and the hockey stick. Look, you don't see that many of the the duck bill or any other or the foot. You don't see that many jerseys. You're going to see the Mighty Ducks jerseys. So kudos to them for bringing that logo back and making it a permanent part of the the whole team.
Mighty Ducks, by the way, best hockey movie of all time.
Wow. Okay.
Agreed.
Some people will say Slapshot, but I think it's really rough to compare them because there's half of the Mighty Ducks audience should not watch Slapshot until a certain age. So
why Mighty Ducks is the best hockey movie out there. It's not. I had this conversation once with Howard Bender and Jim Bonin. They were absolutely floored because they were like Slapshot, but like you said, most people can't watch Slapshot. They brought up Miracle on Ice, and as a Canadian, I care less.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
It's a great movie, but as a Canadian, it's cool. I've been to Lake Placid. Very nice, but it's historically, it's not tugging on my heart.
I was always a D2 guy because, the whole...
it made you hate Iceland.
Yeah, the whole thing, Team USA, Team Iceland, and all that stuff. And then I was like, D3 just started to grow on me. Like, that's a really solid movie. And you don't even get Coach Bombay for the entirety of that movie. He's there for probably about 5 minutes. But, the new coach, everything carries on into the third movie. And if you haven't checked out Game Changers, they only did, I think, 2 seasons of it.
Yeah, that was good.
Pretty solid. It is. Like the whole aura of the Mighty Ducks, from the 3 movies onto the TV show it's really good.
I will say, like, they didn't just try and capitalize off the name. Like, the storyline for the 2 seasons I watched it too was pretty good. It's worth a watch. Hey, it's the summertime. There's not a NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals wrapping up. Baseball doesn't do it for most people. Give that a shot. But yeah, and the second, because like the first movie obviously just is a standalone classic. D2, like you said, they go to the international stage. It becomes a Team USA thing. Who can't get behind that? And then D3 was JV versus varsity. The underdog versus the jerk older brother. So like,
and the storyline is beautiful, right? Like how they eventually take to the new coach and the story behind him and why he's so hard on them. Like it just all leads to a great ending to that film and just the whole trilogy in general.
Mystery Alaska, also an underrated hockey movie there too with Russell Crowe. I enjoy that one. So give that one a watch too if you got some time. So we're excited the Ducks are coming back. It's not the Mighty Ducks, but it's as close as you're gonna get. But the Kings logo, we mentioned they're getting a little bit of a rebrand too, so it's gonna look more like that Gretzky era Kings logo, but I think they're kind of gonna flip the colors with the black and the gray. And they said they're going to redesign the actual crown that's it within the logo. So we'll see what that looks like, but at least you have an idea of what that's going to me. If you're not going to go purple and gold like the original Kings look, then you have to go like that Gretzky era look. Like the 2012 era, the Jonathan Quick, Kopitar, Doughty era, like it worked, but I think it was time for a touch up and a remodel.
I gotta say, I'm all for that purple and gold with the big crown. I like that one. I like that one best.
Yeah, well, you know what? They probably don't want to look like the Lakers, even though because at the time it was the same owner, Jack Kent Cook. So that's part of the reason why they went with the same color scheme. So I understand wanting to differentiate, even if that looks really cool, Yeah. So we'll see what the jerseys and the logos look like here. I'm sure there'll be a big reveal coming closer to the season. Four Nations face-off also coming up. Boston and Montreal will name the host cities for the tournament next season. That's going to take place from February 12th to the 20th in 2025. It's Canada, Finland, Sweden, and of course the United States. It's going to be a 3-game round-robin tournament. 3 points for a regulation win, 2 for an overtime or shootout victory, 1 in an overtime or shootout loss, and 0 for a regulation loss, which I think a lot of people would like to see the NHL go to that. The 2 nations with the most points advance to a single game final. First 6 players from the roster are going to be coming up next Friday on the 28th, a couple Fridays away. Next week, what we're going to do, we're going to have a little homework here. We're going to each pick what we think is going to be the full team for the 4 nations representing here. We'll assign a country to all of us. We'll get a 4th person involved. It'll be fun. So we'll talk more 4 nations face-off next week, provide a little preview for that. So there we go. Any other hockey news or notes you want to get to, or are we ready to start talking potato side dishes here?
Yeah, just going back to the 4 nations, I only really read the schedule real quick. So is this all comprised of NHL players? Is it a mix match? Like, how is the roster going to be comprised?
It's going to be, it must be NHL players, right?
I mean, USA and Canada, there's nobody that they would put on the team that's not already probably playing in the NHL. I would assume same for Sweden and Finland. Maybe there's one outlier in a pro league over there, but I'm assuming this is going to be all NHL players. All 4 countries certainly have a number of players to be in there. Obviously, Russia being left out for political purposes, but they would field quite the team too. I mean, just their goaltending alone, you'd have Vasilevsky, Sorokin, and obviously Shesterkin. And you could probably take Sorokin. If you wanted to argue somebody else for Sorokin, you probably could.
I am willing to sell a kidney if somebody needs a kidney. I am positive you can get a matching kidney. Good deal. So that way I can buy some tickets to this event.
I mean, positive. You're almost universal donor at that point.
Which is great, which means I could, I match up to a lot of people. So if somebody's, in need of a kidney for, I don't know, a couple.
Bone marrow? Will you do bone marrow?
Look, man, whatever I need to get my hands on one of those tickets. The Bell Center sits 21,273 people. I don't even need to go with somebody. I don't even need 2 tickets. I just need 1. That's it. I can sneak Milo under my coat. Nobody will know. So I don't even need a seat for him. You can just sit on me. There we go.
I will say one of my sports bucket list items is going to some form of an international hockey game, whether that's Olympics World Championship, Four Nation Face-Off. They ever bring back the World Cup of Hockey that they did, what was that, back in 2016? If they just bring something back like that, and I would get me to some Team USA game. Absolutely. That is for sure something I want to get to. We'll do it. We'll dive into that next week and talk more about the rosters, the players that are revealed, and we'll, fill some spots on the roster and all that. Now, we've been trying to get ready because we're going to be doing our summer mock draft series, which is just mere weeks away here. And we're doing drafts that are maybe sports related, not sports related. We did an unrestricted free agent draft with Mr. Jared Moore a couple of weeks ago. Last week, we did the Wingstop sauce and rub draft. Today, we're doing a side potato draft because why not? We're calling it Spud Selections there. The guy in the middle is Spuddy, who is the Idaho Potato Board mascot. We all know Mr. Potato Head on the right. And there on the left, you see the French fries at In-N-Out Burger being made as those potato pressers put them right into the fryer. Frankly, their fries suck. They're too fresh. You got to put cheese on them. I will say this: In-N-Out Burger. A lot of people on the East Coast say it's overrated. I agree that In-N-Out is overrated, and I'm in California right now, so I probably shouldn't say that too loud. I think people overrate how overrated it is, but I do think it's part of its value is that it's affordable. So
it's funny too because we're just doing all these different side dishes. There's a draft for French fries. There's from all the different French fry spots, you could do a draft for that. I think we're gonna have to head that up at some point.
I agree. I think we're absolutely going to have to just do a French fry based draft because you got all the different cuts. You got sweet potato fries, and then there's all the other ones. But let's go to an Idaho potato field. There we go. We're going to conduct this draft. Let's do it right. Let's get the board up on the screen here, as you can see on the right there. Let's see here. Let's get that off the screen. Okay. All right. So let's get a little music going. I didn't like the music we had last week. This week
we're going third again.
Well, I didn't actually randomize it before the draft.
I was like, man, I am so unlucky.
So I think it's only fair that if since you got to go last week, you can pick your draft position here. Do you want to go first, second, or third?
You know what? I will stay third.
Oh, so you're like, I got to go third again, and then
I just wanted to know if there was corruption or not. That's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to know if this is like how Gary Bettman decides where expansion is. Is it just like the highest bidder, or is he just not letting it happen?
Oh, all right. So Chris is going to go third. And, do you want first or do you want to go second? Or what do you want here? Do you want to go first and have the swing on the other way, or just always be one pick away?
I think I'll stay. I'll stay in the middle, and we'll have the same type of draft here. I think there are better selections. A lot more selections that I like here, so I won't be as disappointed if some of them are stolen. So I think I'm good here.
All right. So as you can see there on the screen, we got the breakfast and lunch dinner category with 3 flex spots. On the breakfast categories, you got the hash browns, both shredded and the patty, country potatoes, home fries, potato pancakes, aka latkes, and I put tater tots in the breakfast category because there are some fast food establishments that will serve them as their breakfast potato. It really is a hybrid potato, but I wanted to fill out the breakfast portion a little more. Then on the lunch dinner side, you got baked potato with all the fixings, mashed potatoes with gravy, French fries, which we said we could do a sub draft just on French fry cuts alone, roasted potatoes, potato salad, scalloped potatoes, potatoes au gratin, smashed potatoes, patatas bravas, sweet potato, and German potato salad. So there we go. I've got first pick, and this is not a tough one for me. I have to go with the hash brown patty because let's face it, and it's not just the McDonald's hash brown patty, which is a top-notch breakfast item, period. You can eat it on the go. It's got a good flavor. It goes with breakfast. It could even be a lunch or dinner side, although it's more with the breakfast side of things. I just love that it's something I can eat on the go. And, once in a while, I'll get my iced coffee at McDonald's in the mornings if the line at Dutch Brothers is too long. And there's no way I don't get a hash brown with my coffee, even if I'm not hungry.
Nice. Okay. It's a good start. I am such a sucker for mashed potatoes with gravy. So I'm going to go with that as my first pick. I know why should I take French fries right now? But the mashed potatoes with gravy, I'm such a sucker for that. Whether it's Thanksgiving or any type of meal. I prefer a nice mashed potato, so I will take that as my first pick.
See, I'm glad you took that and got it off the board because I think mashed potatoes with gravy is one of the most overrated sides there is in terms of potato side dishes. So thanks for getting that off the board.
Come on. Overrated. Come on.
It's
You could put
potato
cheese in
puree.
there.
It's
You could
potato puree. Let's call it what it is.
The best way to eat potatoes.
All right, Chris is up. What do you got?
All right, I will make this extremely. I'm going to go back-to-back breakfast here because I'm a big breakfast person. I'm going to go with the shredded hash browns. There's not many places here where you can get shredded hash browns. So usually when I end up south of my border and I end up at like Denny's or IHOP or something like that, American coffee stinks. It's the worst thing ever. But shredded hash browns, though, very good. I enjoy that they serve that. So that will be one. I'm going to go straight to the flex here since Ant took he took mashed potatoes. So I'm like, all right, I can't take that. I am going to go tater tots. That basically is a duo position eligibility player. Like you said, you can serve it for breakfast. You can serve it for lunch or dinner. It is an all-around player. It is like a forward that you could play on defense, but would be good. I'm not like it's the Shohei Ohtani of potatoes to me. It's not better than the shredded hash browns, but tater tots are elite, so I will go with that.
Love the tater tots pick. I mean, if that was still sitting there when it's coming back to me, it would have been gone. And I do love the shredded hash browns because, like, if you got like fried egg, you can mix the yolk up in there, or even if you just throw a little ketchup and mix it up with a little pepper, it's a versatile breakfast side. You can really do a lot with it. So you got your breakfast one, you got one of your flex. We're back to Anthony now.
Yeah. I think mine's got to get fixed, though. I have hash brown patty here. But
yeah, you're right. Let me fix that. Thank you.
I can't believe in this snake-style draft that the French fry has fallen to me. So I'm going to pick it up and take it while I can right now because I don't think it'll come back on the return. I'm going to take the French fry and put that in the flex spot right there.
I think that's a wise move. I mean, the fact that they're still sitting there, they were not getting out of round two. So
I'm surprised it didn't go round one, even though I took mashed potatoes with gravy. But I'm glad I'm not the only one that likes that. And Chris Moraes likes a little bit of gravy and puree potato.
That's what mashed potatoes are. They're potato puree. I mean, you need gravy to make them good. So now I'm back on the clock here. I got two picks to make here. Let's see what we got here. I mean, I got to go with a baked potato with fixings because it's a really just solid side, hits the spot, goes with a nice piece of meat, whether that's steak, chicken, whatever the case. It's, I like, obviously some butter in there, maybe some chives, maybe even a little cheese or bacon bits. A good baked potato can really go a long way. So I'm going to have one of the more classic sides. And,
See,
there we
now
go.
To me, that's the most overrated potato, a baked potato.
Okay. It takes a little bit to make. That's its one downfall. It's got to be in the oven for a while.
You got to also slice it. Got to get some butter in on there, and then you're not eating the baked potato either alone. You're not having just a baked potato. Like that has to have stuff on it, right? Like you got to have cheese, sour cream for some people, bacon bits.
Bacon bits, yeah. I'm not a sour cream guy. I'll throw it on a baked potato, but other than that, not too much. So I got my standard top-notch side there. It's time for me to go again here. And there are some breakfast options I'm looking at, but I'm gonna go with potatoes au gratin here. I mean, it's basically potatoes and a cheese sauce. How do you go wrong with that? It's usually sliced up a little bit. You can't go wrong with that right there. Little potatoes and cheese. So give me some potatoes au gratin.
This draft is playing out just the way I want it so far. I'm going to go breakfast, and I'm going to take home fries. Huge home fry guy.
And you got him late. You got him in the third round, so that's a good on you for waiting and getting your pick there.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking of home fries correctly, the little kind of diced up potatoes, you could throw a little, peppers in there, onions in there. I like to throw a little ketchup sometimes on there as well.
There's nothing wrong with that pick there. Home fries is just, that's the breakfast standard. Chris, back on the clock for two here.
Back to back, that Ant takes potatoes that I like. That's unfortunate. I should have gotten second. I should have knew better. It's not my first rodeo here. I
seem to be taking all your picks, whether hockey picks or
So unfortunate. You literally separate Adam and I. That's wonderful. I'm gonna take country potatoes. I mean, they're almost the same as like home fries.
I think so.
It's more the shape than anything, I feel like. And that the country potatoes tend to be a little more like seasoned and thrown on the actual like skillet, whereas, home fries are basically just breakfast version of French fries, just cut.
Look, I'm not that difficult. I'll live with it. Country potatoes are good, easy to eat. I enjoy them. I have to take a dinner because I don't want to be stuck with some of the choices that are here. Man, I'm a difficult eater too, so that's kind of tough. I'm gonna go with smashed potatoes. I don't think I've ever had smashed potatoes, but by Googling it here, I mean, it's basically, I know this is gonna sound wild, but it's a potato that is smashed.
So it's basically lumpy mashed potatoes where like you don't go crazy trying to get it super, smooth. Like you have some lumps in there, and that's an acceptable form of mashed potatoes for me. We just had some over the weekend. They were great.
So your argument is the same for what peanut butter between crunchy and smooth then?
It's not. I do prefer probably the crunchy over the smooth, even though the smooth is what's kept in my house. But
You're all out of whack.
I thought it was just those little tiny potatoes that you would just smash and eat like that. I didn't think they were as mashed.
Sounds like
you need Cap Friendly to find out the differentiation here of what potato it is. But I will take smashed potatoes. I feel like I'm okay with that.
All right. So he's got one spot left. We'll see what gets back to him with the last pick. Anthony on the board again here. He's got 2 flex spots to fill. What are we taking?
See, this is why I was so happy to stay in the middle, because I think I'm just a winner just to be like all the potatoes. I don't go wrong for me. I'm going to switch it up. I don't know if you guys are into this potato, but I am. I like a little bit of a sweet potato. Could put some marshmallow on there. You could put some cinnamon on there. You could do sweet potato fries. Love me a good sweet potato every so often.
Snipe me. I was absolutely going to take a sweet potato with one of my last 2 picks here. Because I mean, like you said, it's a forgotten potato, but it's a nice change of pace. And a French fry draft, I'm snagging those sweet potato fries pretty quickly. Just a little preview there for when we do it. File that away in the memory banks. So good pick there. Nothing wrong with that. So we got 1 breakfast option left on the board and a bunch of lunch dinner options here. What I don't have right now is a cold potato side, and there's still 2 on the board. Don't get me wrong, a good potato salad at a barbecue can go a long way, but I love German potato salad, which is basically you make it with like vinegar instead of like mayo is the main difference. And I love that. It's great on a hot day. It's a good side at a barbecue. If you see it at a restaurant, give it a shot. So that is
absolutely the only potato salad I will eat. I do not like I don't like pasta salad or potato salad with mayo on it. But you talk about that German potato salad, especially during, the Oktoberfest with the nice brat and all that stuff. Oh my, kielbasa! Yes, sign me up.
Yeah, I had both picks before you. I'm surprised that made it to me. Then maybe you were thinking I was going to make it back to you in the next pick. And did I snipe you there a little bit?
No, okay. All good. I just in agreement with you that's a good one.
All right, now the other one I'm going to take here is patatas bravas, which is like a Spanish potato dish and served in like a yellow sauce. It is so damn good, and it gives me a little more of an international flavor there. I've got a couple of guys from Europe on my team. I got Germany and Spain there, so I've got a nice international flavor. I'm really happy with my 1 through 5 here.
Yeah, solid choices all around. I am going to take my final pick and go with the roasted potatoes.
A little healthy option.
How am I in the middle and sniping everybody here? What's going on? Everyone's making faces every time I make a pick.
Literally has my team, I think. With the exception of sweet potatoes, probably what I would have gone with. Look, I did this to myself. So. I hate scallops, but we're not going there. I don't enjoy potato salad. I don't enjoy mayo. I don't enjoy any of it. So those are the 2 worst ones that I can get. Potato pancakes. I don't know if I've ever had them. I'm guessing, and again, this is going to sound wild. I'm guessing it's a potato, but like that's a pancake.
So it's Shallow fried pancakes with matzo meal or flour and a binding ingredient such as egg, applesauce. It's usually flavored with garlic and onion. I'm just reading the Wikipedia description here. Yeah, they're
I can
like
live
little
with that.
potato patties.
I'll do it without the onions and the garlic, but I can definitely do it with the egg and the flour. That's fine. I will take potato pancakes just because I hate the other two options. I will not eat potato salad. I will not eat scallops.
They are also called latkes if you see them on a menu there. So yeah, there you go. So only two on the board. I'm surprised potato salad's left because that's usually a standard. That usually ends up on somebody's team. But everybody's turn. I mean, if I had a sixth pick, I'd take that. I'd have no problem with it. And a scallop potatoes left on the board as well. So there you go. You can see the teams there. I got the hash brown patty, the baked potato with the fixins, potatoes au gratin, German potato salad, and patatas bravas. Ant's got home fries, mashed potatoes, French fries, sweet potato, and roasted potatoes. And then Chris, he's got his shredded hash browns, his smashed potatoes. That was one I was hoping for. Tater tots, country potatoes, and latkes. So there you go. We'd like to know what, give us a shout at Total Hockey Now, either on social media. Shoot us an email, totalhockeynow@gmail.com. Let us know what, your potato team would have looked like. We love doing these mocks, getting ready for the summer mock series.
I feel like Chris and I would be great roommates. We like the same exact foods. I mean, I feel like we are bosom pals of the food variety.
We would, yes, but I would also fear then that you would eat the food that I buy.
Yeah,
like I feel like with Adam,
I can buy my own.
Yes, but like I don't know, maybe there's like a little bit of like mashed potatoes left, but like the creamy, and Adam would just look at me like, oh no. So I would never have to worry about it. Whereas like I feel with you, I'd have to like write my name on it and just like on it, because you might be like, oh, maybe I made this. But that is true. I think that we are of the same. I mean, we technically share a goalie. We are both on the Jake Allen train collectively together. So you are the one that binds us together. You are binded with Adam through Kaapo Kakkonen, and you're binded through me with Jake Allen. You're the peanut butter and jelly of this. You keep the whole operation in check.
The goalie glue, if you will.
That's it. You stick us together like the binding thing in my pancake potato.
Well, I think we've gotten to a point here where it's about time to wrap things up, but we got to do a little sweater weather for not doing mask off this week. And, the Florida Everblades, they've won the last 3 Kelly Cups in a row. So I said, let's go back to the 2 teams that won before them. And here we go. We got the Fort Wayne Comets and then the Newfoundland Growlers there. So even though they spell Comets with a K, I'm not going to hold that against them. Nonetheless, we got 2 ECHL franchises here that are Kelly Cup champions. Fellas, which one are you going to take, or are you going to bank the money here?
I am going Newfoundland Growlers on this one. I like the black and gold, reminiscent of the Vegas Golden Knights. I kind of like that, and I like the logo. I would do away with the wording up the way the wording is. I mean, it's not terrible, but I do like the logo opposed to the Comets logo there.
Nothing wrong with the Fort Wayne Comets jersey. But there's no way I'm going against Canada here, right? No shot, right? Newfoundland Growlers. That's an easy one. It's a good color too. I'm not just taking it, not trying to be biased here. Really, really good. Didn't the dude from Shoresy play for the Newfoundland Growlers as well?
I think that's right. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
I feel like it is. I forget what his name is. I'm not up to date on my Shoresy either. But that is a great show. If you're looking for something to watch, you should probably watch Shoresy. Just for all the like hockey lines and stuff, and for Sanguinet. But yes, I would definitely the Newfoundland Growlers. That to me is the one. But again, nothing wrong with the Fort Wayne Comets. Very nice jersey. The logo is great. It's an ECHL jersey. ECHL jersey, there's no question about it. But the Growlers jersey just much better in my opinion.
One jersey left in the store. I'm second in line. I don't know what happens here, Chris.
So I'm gonna go. Listen, the Comets jersey's fine. I think it's a little too close to the Cincinnati Cyclones right down the road in terms of concept. And you know how when we were talking Utah hockey names, I don't like with neighboring states or having similar team names. It's just too much. And it's the same thing here. I don't love the Newfoundland written across the top of the dog. You take that away, and I think that's a top-notch jersey there. The shade of bronze is just different enough that it doesn't totally remind me of a Vegas Golden Knights jersey. My high school colors were black and gold, so a little bit of sentimentality there. So yeah, I'm gonna take. We'll make it a clean sweep for the Newfoundland Growlers. I'm actually gonna spend the money this week, and we'll get the black jersey.
Terry Ryan, by the way, that's the name we were looking for, was part of the Newfoundland Growlers. So that was an easy one there. He was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens. So that is my connection.
Is this a first for us, all three picking the same jersey? I don't know if we've done that yet.
I feel like it's happened. If it's happened, it's once or twice. It has not happened often. Usually one of us either dissents or just says, I'm keeping the money. Yeah, I think this is one of the rare clean sweeps for sweater weather here on Total Hockey Now. So a little monumentous occasion there. Very
Sorry,
nice.
Fort Wayne.
Sorry, Fort Wayne. But I mean,
It's
and
not awful.
it's not awful. We've also had a couple of orange jerseys on recently, so maybe there's just a little ODing on the orange and just seeing a different color scheme, something sharp like a black and gold, really kind of steals it away there. But that'll do it for this edition of Total Hockey Now on the Total Hockey Now Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook network. Don't forget, you can catch Anthony's alternate work at Subway to Shea on all social media platforms. Chris, when he gets a Slapshot podcast out there, you can find it there. And of course, tomorrow on Rip and Riff, we'll be doing a couple of hockey packs. Going to be mostly baseball with myself and Mr. Jared Moore. But for my line mates at Ant Rivera 86 and at Fuzzy Chris 91, I am at Pucking Thoughts. We'll be back with you next Tuesday. We'll talk Stanley Cup Finals. We'll see where we're at on Total Hockey Now.